I'm Nicole Griffin. Tonight in Fortville, where there is a clear sign of frustration. Drivers say they've been waiting for years for a traffic light to be installed at a dangerous intersection. Tonight, we're getting answers about why there's a delay.
New information tonight about the deadly police chase on the east side. What we're now learning about a case of mistaken identity.
Murders are down in Indianapolis, but tonight the Fraternal Order of Police is calling on city leaders to do more. What they want done to reduce violent crime.
This is RTV6 News at 5, working for you.
Good evening at 5 o'clock. I'm Mark Mullins.
And I'm Amanda Starantino. Tonight, RTV6 is digging into the reasons behind repeated delays when it comes to safety improvements for drivers in Hancock County.
It's a follow-up to a story RTV6 first reported in November of 2018 after drivers shared concerns over several crashes at the Fortville intersection. Now, more than a year later, those drivers are asking why the necessary measures still have not been taken.
RTV6's Nicole Griffin is getting answers for them tonight.
Drivers in Fortville have been asking this question.
What's it going to take? You know, at what point is it going to be serious enough to make something happen?
It's a concern we first reported in November of 2018 after several crashes at State Road 13 and State Road 67 in Fortville. Fortville police report 12 more crashes here in 2019.
A lot of times, because of the way the intersection is, you have to darn near pull out onto Highway 67 to be able to turn right onto 67. So it's just a busy intersection with difficulty seeing and a lot of traffic.
After a traffic study, INDOT recognized the need for a traffic signal. But in 2018, the project was delayed because INDOT thought it needed to acquire land. The design phase later showed there wasn't a need. So then contractors started bidding on the project in March of 2019.
You guys did an update on the story back in August saying that the project would be completed in 2 to 3 weeks. And here we are in the 1st of January and still no stoplight.
New black poles, wiring, and signs were added, but the traffic signals have not been installed. Right now, there is only a stop sign for drivers on State Road 13. And the frustration for drivers is clear. Just this week, a local realtor put out a skeleton with a sign saying, "No turn on red." The message behind it, the town of Fortville has been waiting for a light long enough.
I think he probably died waiting on the stoplight to be installed. So while it might be a little bit funny, it does speak to the frustration of the people in the town. Just please, we're pleading, please can we have the stoplight that we've been promised?
I followed up with INDOT to find out why it's taking so long to get the traffic signal installed here. A department spokeswoman tells me they are waiting on the contractor to get the supplies they need for installation. I asked why it's taking so long to get those supplies and whether or not they're considering hiring a new contractor. That spokeswoman tells me she is out of the office until Monday and will get those answers to me. Working for you in Fortville, Nicole Griffin, RTV6.
Nicole, thank you. Police say a majority of the crashes were just fender benders at that intersection in 2019, but one did result in injuries. Right now, INDOT says it does not have a new completion date for the project. We will follow up Monday, as Nicole mentioned, to see if there is an update to the report. Developing tonight just blocks away on Main Street in Fortville, restoration crews spent the afternoon boarding up a shattered window and door at a new sushi restaurant. The owner of Bonsai Fortville tells us he arrived to work around 8 o'clock this morning to find police out front. Someone threw rocks at the windows and door. The owner says it does not appear anything was taken. The business is new to Main Street. It just opened in November. The owner says he won't let it defeat him, and his restaurant is still open tonight.
We're going to stay positive and continue to grow. And for the first month and a half we've been in the Fortville community, people have been extremely welcoming, and you just feel like it's part of an extended family. So we love the community, and we won't let this act of hate deter us from going forward.
Fortville police are working to review surveillance video from nearby businesses. They're asking anyone with information to call the Hancock County non-emergency dispatch number. It's 317-477-4400.
New information tonight about a deadly crash on the city's east side Monday. According to newly released court documents, the man police were chasing was not who they thought he was. Monday's multi-vehicle crash near Newport Drive and Pendleton Pike killed 64-year-old Charles Alexander. He was in a vehicle hit by the driver fleeing police. Police believed the man they were chasing was wanted on a federal firearms charge. According to court documents, police say the man they were chasing matched their suspect's description, but it turned out it was not that man. The man who ran from police, 24-year-old Marcel Carter, is charged with resisting law enforcement and reckless driving in Hancock County, and in Marion County is facing potentially more charges, including reckless homicide. And a 14-year-old boy is in critical condition after police say he was accidentally shot by his brother. This happened in the 2700 block of Chamberlain Drive South around 11 a.m. This is in a neighborhood on the south side near Keystone Avenue and Thompson Road. The victim was suffering from a single gunshot and was taken to the hospital in critical condition. Police say two brothers were inside the home messing around with a gun when it went off and hit one of them.
Tonight, a call to get a handle on the surging violence in Indianapolis. The Indianapolis Fraternal Order of Police wants local leaders to do something about the city's problem. This comes just days after IMPD released its homicide numbers report for 2019. RTV6's Megan Sanctorum explains what changes the FOP says could help reduce violent crime.
Enough is enough when it comes to the violence in our city.
The Indianapolis Fraternal Order of Police is calling for change today, saying the level of violent crime in the city is unacceptable. FOP President Rick Snyder said 153 people have been shot or stabbed in just the last 2 months. He outlined his plan to curb those numbers. And now he's calling on the mayor, city county council, legislators, and even the governor to get involved. Snyder made several recommendations, including establishing a commission on criminal justice outcomes so current bond policies can be reviewed. He also says there needs to be more accountability for violators in the juvenile justice system. He wants the state to look at current mandates that take away what he calls a disproportionate amount of jail beds in Marion County. IMPD just released statistics saying the total number of homicides in 2019 was down from 2018. But Snyder says those numbers are not something to celebrate.
It is misleading to suggest that because your murder numbers are slightly lower, that somehow overall violence is declining. It is not. And not only is it not declining, it is rapidly surging.
He's now calling on the mayor and other local leaders to sit down together and work toward change. We'll have more on this story coming up tonight at 6, including reaction from local faith-based leaders. Working for you, Megan Sanctorum, RTV6.
Well, we reached out to the mayor's office for their response. The spokesperson said it's clear there is more work to do. Together with our local, state, and federal law enforcement partners, we begin 2020 with a continued dedication to making our city a safer place for all, end quote.
We're on the Storm Team 6 Tracking Center with Chief Meteorologist Kevin Gregory, and beautiful sunshine this morning, and then those clouds came in, and now we're expecting something else.
Rain, yeah,
okay.
January rain. How about that? You might be thinking, boy, we need some snow. This is our snowiest month of the year on average. Not much in the way of snow in the forecast, at least the immediate forecast. I'm showing you the southern portion of the state because that's where the rain is most likely, at least in the short term. Heavier rain down in Kentucky. Up to Bloomington, Columbus, and Seymour, some light showers. As you drift north, it's really the clouds that are dominating. We'll wait on the rain. The southern system then will have its impact in central Indiana, but not too much north of that. 50 degrees in Fishers and Castleton. Remember, 36 is our average high, and it happens to be our coldest average high. We're well above that, and we'll stay that way for the next 24 hours. Where we have the rain to the south, temperatures are in the upper 40s, and it's 48 all the way up to Peru. Wind out of the southwest, that's the key to keeping temperatures from falling off much tonight with the cloud cover. By the time we get to 9 and 10 o'clock, I think the rain will have overspread most of the viewing area. We'll talk about the changes for tomorrow and the weekend coming up.
Well, the new year begins with several important decisions looming for the Colts.
Well, another season missing the playoffs lead to big changes. The team's GM talked about that today. Brad Brown joins us now with a look at that. Brad.
Mark and Amanda, good afternoon. The Colts' 7-9 season was obviously short of expectations. Today, General Manager Chris Ballard said those disappointing results start with him right at the top. Ballard spoke to the media for more than an hour, but the questions steered in a couple of very clear directions. Much of it was around the quarterback. Ballard says he's been in touch with Andrew Luck and sees no reason to believe the former QB will do anything other than stay retired. And the GM told us that right now, Jacoby Brissett will be behind center for Week 1 of 2020. But the Colts will make every effort to improve at every position. Many of the pieces to be a title contender are in place here, but Ballard says there's plenty of room to move the bar much higher in the year ahead.
Bad seasons happen. Bad moments happen. Things don't go the way you planned them to go. You got to meet those head on, and you got to accept it. You can't put your head in the sand and act like everything's okay. You got to accept it, and then you got to find answers to the problems.
Here are some of the other key points from today's discussion. Tight end Eric Ebron will not be re-signed. He's done after 2 seasons with the Colts. Anthony Costanzo is considering retirement. He's just 31 years old. The anchor of the O-line is a free agent otherwise. Ballard says they will wait and see regarding kicker Adam Vinatieri, who recently had knee surgery, and they won't rule out drafting a quarterback. The Colts have the 13th pick coming up in April. They have another 10 free agents to consider in the months ahead as well, including a few starters. The next big item will be the Combine. That returns to Indianapolis at the end of February. The NFL playoffs also begin this weekend. It's right here on RTV6. There's a wild card game in Houston. Texans taking on the Bills. Houston announced today that J.J. Watt will play on Saturday. That's a big deal for them. Coverage starts at 2. Kickoff at 4:35 from NRG Stadium.
Thank you, Brad. Ahead tonight on the Now Indy at 5:30, starting the year with a job search. The help the state is giving former Celadon employees to land a new job.
But first, protecting kids at the bus stop. The impact that extra money given to police departments made in efforts to keep your kids safe.
At JanuaryIndyBoatShow.com.
Well, President Trump is backing off on his plan to ban all vaping flavors from all types of e-cigarettes. U.S. health officials announced today the ban will include most flavored e-cigarettes popular with underage teenagers, including fruit, candy, mint, and dessert. But menthol and tobacco-flavored e-cigarettes will be allowed to remain on the market. The flavor ban will also entirely exempt large tank-based vaping devices that are primarily sold in vape shops that cater to adults.
Now to Democracy 2020, and it is now officially a presidential election year, but as of today, there is one less candidate in the race. There are now just 14 in the race for the Democratic presidential nomination, with the first votes to be cast next month. ABC's Serena Marshall reports.
With a month to go until the Iowa caucus, the Democratic presidential field shrunk again.
Given the circumstances of this campaign season, I've determined that it simply isn't our time.
In a video release, the former Obama housing secretary Julian Castro dropping out of the 2020 race, Castro failing to garner enough support in the polls or raise enough money to make recent Democratic debates. One of those near the top of the polls is Senator Bernie Sanders. His campaign announced a massive $34.5 million fundraising haul, one of the biggest quarterly campaign amounts by any presidential campaign.
So our job together is to create an economy that works for all.
Other frontrunners also putting out their fundraising totals. Pete Buttigieg, whose tenure as mayor of South Bend, Indiana, ended yesterday, raised $24.7 million. Former Vice President Joe Biden with his best quarter to date, bringing in $22.7 million. And Senator Elizabeth Warren announced last week that she had raised at least $17 million towards her $20 million goal for the last quarter.
We know how to make government work for the people.
Warren campaigned today in New Hampshire, but other Democrats descending on Iowa.
We have to put a candidate at the top of the ticket with a proven record of bringing people with her.
Senator Klobuchar is one of 5 candidates with one eye on the campaign trail and another on Washington. The timing of the Senate impeachment trial expected to force them back to Capitol Hill to serve as jurors, as well as Biden, who could be called as a witness if President Trump gets his way.
It's about the American people, what they want in a president.
13 of the remaining 14 Democrats running for president filed with the Nevada Democratic Party for that state's February caucus. Former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg failed to file by the January 1st deadline. His campaign putting all their hopes on Super Tuesday. Serena Marshall, ABC News, Washington.
A push to make school bus stops safer for kids all around the state resulted in thousands of citations thanks to overtime patrols. Nearly 40 law enforcement agencies took part. Governor Eric Holcomb announced today that those increased patrols led to 453 stop arm violations and 1,200 more violations involved speeding. The effort kicked off at the start of the 2019 school year. The overtime patrols were paid for by Stop Arm Violation Safe grants funded by the National Highway Transportation Safety Administration. The Indiana Criminal Justice Institute will start accepting applications for the next round of grant funding early next week.
2019 was a record year for the Children's Museum of Indianapolis. The world's largest children's museum set an all-time attendance record of more than 1,318,000 visits. The previous record was set in 2009. Things to look forward to this year include an art and play exhibit called The Pigeon and Pals. There will also be an exhibit about wild weather, a Barbie You Can Be Anything exhibit, the Haunted House, and the Jolly Days Winter Wonderland.
So basically a lot of things to look forward out to this year. That's great to see.
So maybe we'll get another record next year.
Right. Yeah.
And think about attendance at like Christmas at the zoo. The Christmas lights at the
when all the kids are off, yeah.
And then, well, the weather's been so spectacular.
Right, true.
I'm sure that just changes the game for everything. Weather either, enhances something or, can
takes it away. Yeah.
Pressure's on, Kevin.
What I'm saying is we're always to blame. Okay, let's talk about temperatures during the day tomorrow. Right around 50 degrees again, well above average for this time of year up here, and then quickly back down into the 30s, but briefly we'll have snow showers around on Saturday just to confirm that we're back to January with a strong, cold northwest wind. Temperatures do recover, though, early next week. Want to show you, we'll be on the northern fringe of this really southern system. Heaviest band of rain has been arcing through Mississippi and Alabama toward Atlanta, Georgia. You come to the north, that rain shield only to about Seymour and Bedford on the north side of the whole weather system. Lots of clouds elsewhere. We just wait patiently for more rain to return tonight with periods of rain through the day tomorrow. Shouldn't be heavy, certainly not as heavy as the last event, but remember the ground is not too receptive this time of year, so I think what will happen is generally half an inch or less is what we would expect. Temperatures very uniform, everybody in the upper 40s, about 13 degrees above average for this time of the year. Meet Snow White. How about that? Daryl Pierce sent in that picture, and she looks happy. And it looks like she may have just made a visit to the vet, because you can see down here.
Right, I see the little report card down there.
Yeah, so she went in for a tune-up, and everything is good. Snow, welcome to the show. Rain chances will increase later this evening after 9 o'clock for most areas. Through the overnight, you can see anywhere from Terre Haute to Indy to Muncie southeast is the most likely place for widespread rainfall. And we'll continue that trend during the day tomorrow. Certainly not a washout tomorrow, and it will lead to colder temperatures as we get to Saturday. Friday high temperatures again about like today, 50 degrees. The wind won't be too strong. These temperatures remain above average. As we get to Saturday, the biggest difference, cold enough for snow showers. We could see some light accumulation, half an inch or less, mainly grassy areas. It will feel colder than 35 though, because of that northwest wind that will gust over 20 miles per hour once again. As you look at next week, chances for more rain returning, may mix with snow on Tuesday. That's the next weather system to keep track of. But Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, temperatures in the upper 30s, then jump to the 40s by Thursday.
All right.
Just all over the place.
You got it.
Thank you, Kevin, for that. Hey, attention parrot heads tonight. Jimmy Buffett is making a return trip to central Indiana this year. It was just announced today that Jimmy Buffett and the Coral Reefer Band will perform at Ruoff Music Center for one night only this summer. The concert is set for Saturday, July 11th at 8 p.m. Tickets go on sale Friday, January 10th at 10 a.m. He was last here in 2018, by the way.
And today is considered National Returns Day. Are you taking part? Important dates and info you need to know if you have a Christmas present to return so you don't waste your money.
At Ashley Home Store, this is home.
Well, today is expected to be one of the busiest days for UPS, FedEx, and the Postal Service. January 2nd is unofficially dubbed National Returns Day.
And are you among those needing to return a gift? We are noticing even the most generous stores have begun tightening their return policies. Consumer reporter John Mattery shows us some of the best and worst retailers for returns so you don't waste your money.
The weeks of shopping are over. Now it's time to enjoy those holiday gifts. But what if you don't want one or two? Well, then you need to know which stores you'll need to rush to bring them back. Stores used to give us months, even a year, to return holiday gifts. Not anymore. ConsumerWorld.org says for the 2019 holiday season, a number of major stores have tightened the screws. Among them, Best Buy. January 14th is the return deadline for most holiday purchases. Walmart, TVs must be returned within 30 days, not 90 anymore. The Apple Store, just 14 days. Target, 30 days for electronics, 15 days for Apple items. And Macy's, 90 days instead of 6 months. And from the Doesn't That Stink file, the disappearing lifetime return policy. LL Bean used to replace boots and backpacks forever, but that changed last year, which could have you saying, "Doesn't that stink?" If your boots split after a few years. Even Nordstrom, which used to take anything back without a receipt, is now limiting returns to prevent customers from borrowing dresses and then returning them. Sure, no need to rush out the first couple of days after Christmas when return lines are longest, but don't wait much longer than January 8th just to be safe so you don't waste your money. Working for you, I'm John Matteries for RTV6.
All new at 6 p.m. here on RTV6. Parents and now the ACLU are raising concerns about one school district's social media policy. Why some say it's a violation of the First Amendment, and why some parents think that policy is in place.
But first on the Now, Indy, twins born 30 minutes apart is not that unusual, but the 30-minute time span that separates the births of this brother and sister is a real talker. You're watching RTV6.